So, Uncle, when you're watching one of your fighters like warm up like this, what goes through your mind? What are you looking for when you see a guy doing his shadow work?
Education. What has he learned since we've been together? You know, what habits do we have? Good habits, bad habits. One of the things that I always tell Vlad is always angle yourself when you're boxing. Put that left hand in front of everything and take away the stomach shots. You understand?
Yep.
Take away those stomach shots so you don't get hit with those shots, because those shots will wear you out over the long haul, you know?
So how key is shadow boxing? I see a lot of fighters doing it, but how key is it, do you believe?
I think it's taken for granted now. You know, I think that a lot of people don't put their heart and soul into shadow boxing, but shadow boxing is as important as sparring itself, because you're putting an imaginary opponent in front of you, and then you're trying to work your show against that opponent. But you can't be disrespectful in doing it. You have to do it in a manner where you're going to hit without being hit, you know, and that's key. That's key. It's very valuable, you know.
So, when you're doing shadow boxing, how do you know when a fighter's in the zone and shadow boxing doing the correct things, and then you can see a fighter that really isn't doing the correct things? What do you look for?
Demeanor, eyes, reflexes, the concentrated effort of the boxing itself. You know, you'll see a guy do things which he might take for granted. You can see it in his eyes, you can see it in his actions, you see it in his movement, you know. And then you can see the guy who's really concentrating on what he's doing, you know.
Okay.
So.
How effective is it, shadow boxing, for you?
I think shadow boxing is far better than hitting mitts and pads and stuff like that.
Why?
Because it gives you a chance to be in with a diversity of opponents. Every opponent that you fight is going to be different. And now you've got to make mental adjustments with an imaginary opponent. You're imagining what you're going to do to this guy anyway. So I think that the shadow boxing is very key, very essential. In fact, my preference is shadow boxing over running, you know, and I've gotten a lot of flack, a lot of criticism for that over the years, but I prefer that a young fighter comes in a small ring, such as this ring here, where you don't have so much wideness and so much space to move around. I prefer for them to come in and put 45 minutes of shadow boxing in, as opposed to running 5-6 miles, you know, because there's a constant work ethic in that shadow boxing. It's constant. There's no let up. You know, you go straight through the rounds, 45 minutes, and if that doesn't exert a fight, if that doesn't condition a fighter, then I don't know what will, you know. These are the things that's going to be essential in the fight. When the fight takes place, it's going to take place inside the ring, not on the road. Running up hills, backwards, sideways, and stuff like that. It might play some role, but not a really significant role that I would take that over the shadow box.
What about endurance then? I mean, people say run up mountains and all this stuff improves your endurance and able to do the 12 rounds easy and...
Endurance?
And oxygen going up in the mountains.
This is endurance. If you're doing this right, if you're doing shadow boxing the proper way, if you're doing shadow boxing proper, you're going to be exhausted when you finish, you know? You're going to be exhausted when you finish, if you're doing the shadow boxing the proper way.
How do you know you do it the proper way, people would ask?
You can see when the fight is finished, you know? If a guy's cool, then he didn't do it right. If he's dog-tired, then he did it right. There's no deep science. There's no deep science to it. You can see the effects on the fighter after it's over.
Okay. But how do you, I mean...
Don't stop shaking. Don't stop shaking. Keep your hands up, elbows tucked.
Don't stop shaking. Is that a head movement? Body movement not to be timed?
Here to do an interview. I'm not here to train up a trainer.
was waiting for you to say that.
Yeah, well, I mean...
It's the Bashir show. I expect you to say that.
What kind of person is this? I mean,
I expect you to say that. I expect you to say that.
shaking between your punches, Vlad. Shake before, shake after. Always have the shaking to take a little step with it.
Beautiful, beautiful. But would you say, Uncle, that some trainers need training, to be honest?
Well, you know, it's arrogance. Arrogance combined with ignorance is what stops people from growing in any profession. Arrogance combined with ignorance. The young people today just don't want to wait. They want to put it in a jar, shake it up, and ask, is it ready yet? That's just the way of the world. And you can find that in any profession in the world, where the young people just don't want to wait. They don't want to do it the way that their grandparents or their great-grandparents did it. You know, coming up the hard way, you know, learning the profession that they're in blow by blow and learning from the elders who've been in the profession. You have the young people that come in and they want to go right to the top. That's just the way it is. And if they should be fortunate enough to have a world champion, then you really can't tell them nothing then, because they've been the trainer or the coach for a world champion. So now it's really difficult to talk to them. So I don't try no more. I don't try.
But legacy is important now. I mean, Emmanuel Stewart, we speak about him and people talk about and worship or honor and talk a lot about Emmanuel Stewart and what he's done. But when we look back at tape to look at what Emmanuel Stewart's done in terms of us seeing his genius and what he did, there's not a lot of tape on that, but there's a lot of tape of him talking about fighters, or you'll see clips of him in the ring doing corner work, but like there is nothing too much about what he did as a trainer behind the scenes.
I think that Emmanuel's legacy would be displayed on the people who were around him, such
Yes.
as myself.
Yes. But isn't that important then, because a person like yourself has been around Emmanuel and still living, that knowledge in some way should be displayed? I'm not saying to you give your secrets away, but at the same time, that's the only way some will learn.
Well, I think that the best thing that a person could do if they're looking to learn is to watch and observe, the same way I did. I mean, it wasn't just Emmanuel Stewart, you know. I mean, I was with Lee Black, I was with Tommy Parks, you know, Sam Solomon, Carmine Graciano. So I worked with a lot of great trainers over the years, and I took a portion from each one of those trainers. You know, I took a little from this guy, I might have took the left hook from this guy, the setup for the jab from that guy, and I combined it all of the wisdom that I collected from those trainers, I combined it, and then I formulated my own style of training.
But you had an abundance of that because they had those great trainers around. Today, that's not the case.
Right. And those guys came up the old-fashioned way too. They came up under other trainers. Now today, the young guys don't want to wait. They just want to go to the top and.
Let's say, forget the arrogant ones. What about the young fighters, young trainers that want to learn? Where do they go? Who do they go to?
Well, I suggest that they go to their neighborhood gym and try to look for the eldest guy there, the guy who seems to know the most, and start collecting wisdom from him. Ask questions. Ask questions. Spend time with them, you know, the same way I did. I spent time with these trainers. I spent time with them. I traveled to be with them.
But what about, for example, a precision craft boxing school? Would that work? Would you be prepared to do something like that?
Well, I'm in the process of opening a gym in Warsaw, Poland. Warsaw, Poland. That might be the first initial precision craft boxing gym in the world. I'm looking for that there. I'm talking to the people who's going to help me set the gym up, and then time will tell. Time will tell. I mean, I've had a lot of talk over the years about opening a precision craft gym. Nothing materialized, so let's see what happens with this one.
Okay. What would you want to accomplish? Just have fighters, or would you actually have a school where other would-be boxing trainers could come to you and learn?
I'd bring in other trainers from around the world, but they'd have to be willing to learn.
Right.
There's not a lot of people out in the world now who know about boxing, who know the art of boxing. They think they know. I watch, I observe all the time. I'm very observant when I go into different gyms around the world. Right hand behind it. Zoom, zoom. Zoom, zoom with the body. When I reach for it, look behind it. Zoom, zoom. Zoom, zoom. Step back. Back, back, back. Here, pull back. Okay. Go home. Go. Sit down. Take from here. Double it. Double it. Double it. Boom. Boom. Breathe. A little quicker, a little quicker, a little quicker. Better. Yeah. Pull up. Where you go? Jab. Jab. You see what happens here? On the southpaw. Put the jab out. You see what happens? Now where you go? No. No, no, no. Same thing we've been practicing on. Put the jab out. Look where my left hand went. That's where it goes. What happens is when this jab comes, instinctively I'm looking to defend. Everything down here relaxes. Everything down here relaxes. So if you're here, I'm here, you go right behind the left elbow. I'm southpaw, bang. On the left elbow. Every time we go here, jab. Good. Over here, bang. Here, just pull. You know what I'm saying? You have better control if you just pull. Just rock, turn the right hand over. Don't weight it. Don't travel with it. You're just gonna rock and turn it over. There you go. Bring the left hand here. Here, here. 1, 2. Again. Here. That's that right hand. So 2. So 3. That's that. Jab. hand behind it now. Jab, jab. Jab, jab. Jab, jab, right up the gut. Jab, jab. Do it again. Jab, jab. Walk. Quick, up. Up. Watch.
Pull and
Watch. Here, pull. Here. Come. Here, pull. Here, pull. Don't let nobody measure you. Knock it down, jab. Turn it up a little bit this round. Turn it up a little bit. It's not easy, you know. Shadow boxing is key. Shadow boxing is essential. Like I was saying, you know, shadow boxing is essential.
кажется, ему надо было найти себе чуть
And you
другого.
don't rehearse nothing. Don't rehearse it. You got to do it the way it is. Jab, slip a jab, right hand. Don't go so far away. Leave the left foot still. Left foot still. Just rock with the, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Just rock. You're in the same place. Here. There you go. You come right back to where your foot is. Traveling too far. You gotta be shorter. Again. Come a little closer to me. A little quicker. Come on. Come closer. Bring your feet closer. You're right in range to be hit. Great fighters are always in range to be hit or to do the hitting. But you don't want to be out of the loop. Come on. Jab. Jab. Slip my jab. Slip it. Hook right hand behind it. Come on. Hook right hand behind it. Again. Jab, jab. Jab, jab, bring up gut. Slip my right hand there. Put the left hand behind it. Again, hit. Slip, slip.
Oh, okay.
Slip, slip. Again. Slip, slip. Again. Slip. You go slip, slip, bang, bang. Again. Slip. Punch is coming straight. You can go any way you want to go here. Slip. There you go. Slip, slip. Now 3. Slip, 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 bang, bang. Come on, come on. Wake up, Christmas. Let's go. Jab. Jab. Jab right hand. Jab right hand, left hook. So little slip right here. Come on, quick a little. Come on. Faster. Again, come on. come on. Double. Triple, come on, come on, come on, come on. Come on, breathe. Wipe them down. Salt is getting in my eye. Wipe them down. I'm trying to do on the spot stuff. Jab. And jab. You gotta come close to me, son. You can't make it happen from the back seat. Come on. Hook sit. Come on, come on, come on, come on, Christmas. Up. 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 Gotta be ready. Shake. Shake, right lead uppercut. Steal it.
Ooh.
Come on, come on.
Oi, oi, oi.
Zoom, zoom. Zoom, zoom. Come on, come on, come on. Out there. Tap, tap. Tap, tap, tap. Come on, come on, come on. Catch it. Catch it. Right. Faster. Jab, jab. Come on, come on. Step, step. Step here. Zoom, 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 zoom. Pull back, right? Short uppercut. You don't stop there because you block here. You block, fire, pull, pull, pull. Block, cut. Keep your hands up. Hook up here. You see that?
I'm just shaking.
I missed here. I missed. As soon as you miss, you go to something else. You know you missed a shot. You're vulnerable, all right? Guy missed a shot here, he's vulnerable. So what happens is, look, you missed a shot. I throw a right hand, slip it. I just keep going. I keep going. It makes it bad for me, but it makes it bad for him too. Jab. Jab. Good, 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 good. Put the left hand behind the second one. Tap, 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 tap.
You mean right?
Put the right hand. I keep thinking I'm the southpaw. Again. Again, come on. Shake. Shake lever. Problem. Jab, jab. Here, right here. Say don't be so far away. Take a little step, a little short step, where you ain't got to travel so far to get back to the plunge. You don't know what's going to happen from this here hook. You got to come back. Tip, tip. Tip, tip. Tip, tip. Come on. Come on, run them. Come on. Here. Come on. Jab, jab. Jab, jab, slip, right hand. Up, up, up. Where the left hook at? Step, 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 step. Jab, jab. Jab, jab. Come on, jab. Double it. More urgency. You hear. Ah! Good. A little faster. Where's my hook? Come on, give me the hook. Let's keep going. Let's hustle it. Come on. We're in the mix now. Come on. When I reach down, they come over the top with the right hand. All you're doing is just saying, knock me down and keep going. Follow with the hook. Every time I go down there, you gotta stick something out there. Bang. Watch. Right hand. If I'm delivering the right hand, then I'm vulnerable to a right hand. Let's do it again. Here. 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 Hook behind. Here. Catch my jab. Catch it over there. Don't stay there. Tap and move over. Knock the jab down by the right hand. There you go. Put the hook behind it. Don't stay up after the hook. What we say? Hook, and you're gone. Hook, sit. Hook, sit. Go. Come on, find the target. 4. Here, 4. Here. Counter hook.
Okay, we're here with Vlad Sirenko and Uncle James Ali Bashir. So, Uncle, we just watched you on the pads intensely over 4 or 5 rounds. Talk to us about what you were expecting from Vlad in that session there.
Concentration, focus and concentration, that's the big thing. We're a few days away from his 11th fight, so focus and concentration is the big thing, as is the case in all of his career. Focus and concentration, that's what I was looking for on the pads.
Vlad, yourself, talk to us about what's going on in the room. What are you thinking when Uncle Bashir is talking to you? What's going through your mind?
I'm listening. I'm listening, and I'm trying to fix my mistakes or try to do what Bashir said. Sometimes he's fixing something, and I like, okay, I did mistake here. I need to fix it up.
How important is it for you to fix those mistakes?
Very important because, you know, every boxer want to be perfect, you know, but it's not really possible sometimes. But
Yeah.
I do know possible for that, to get perfect, to make my style like completely
Complete.
good.
So we've heard in the interview we did with Vlad before, talking about the sparring sessions he's had with the likes of Usyk, Stavern, Visser, Povetkin, Dubois,
Joe Joyce,
Joe Joyce,
Michael Hunter.
Michael Hunter, yep, and Vlad went quite in depth about those sparring sessions. How much of those sparring sessions do you use as shadows or reflections as to when you're actually doing the actual pad work? How much does that come into it?
Well, you know, when I'm doing the pad work, I try to create a diversity of styles. You know, I put him in with those guys as an education, whether he had the best of the sparring session or not. A sparring session is a sparring session. It's a learning situation. So when I put him in with these kind of guys, these guys are the cream of the crop in the heavyweight division currently. You know, so I want him to do what he can. If he happens to have the best of the sparring session, fine. If he doesn't get the best of the sparring session, it's a learning situation. So, but we never lose. That's why we're there.
Vlad, I want to come back to you. You look around the world today and you look at a lot of the trainers, they're all doing the Mayweather thing, the pad work. We see with Uncle Bashir doesn't do that. What are your thoughts on the Mayweather thing and that sort of training, the fast, flashy pad work? What does it mean for you? What does it mean to Vlad Sirenko?
I have my own style, and I like to do my, I like how Bashir taking me on the pads because it's educated, you know. This kind of style when you just throw in the punches, it's just, you know, just throwing punches, that's it. You know, I can do same on the back, but what is the point from this? Of course you can get some stamina, you can get some maybe power, I don't know, speed, and what else?
But the education, a lot of people today think if a trainer can't do that, then he's not a good trainer. Is that a misconception? Is that something a misunderstanding?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, because to do something like my Western style, I think it's not very difficult, and everybody can, if you will try, you can do it, you know, but maybe not perfect, like my Weather did it.
Yes.
But in the future, if you will train, you will get to that point, and you will be like my Weather, you can look there, you know.
But it doesn't mean anything.
For me, not really, you know. We can take a pads and gloves, and we can do it. I'm pretty sure, without just jumping and do.
But
what is the point?
would that take you to becoming heavyweight champion of the world doing that stuff? If your trainer was doing that every day with you, could that make you heavyweight champion of the world?
One day I will ask him for what we're doing. Also.
You'll ask him what he's doing. Uncle, let's talk about this a second, this Mayweather style, which seemed to work with Mayweather. But I'm sure he did more than just that. That was for the camera.
Floyd Mayweather, you got to understand, he grew up in a boxing family. 3 uncles, 2 uncles and a father that were pretty good boxers. And that style was created, centered around Mayweather. I think that Roy Jones, Muhammad Ali, and Floyd Mayweather have gotten more guys knocked out over the years with guys trying to emulate their style as opposed to them not doing it, you know? So I think that, no, I don't adapt to that style. I think that it's insignificant in a fight because when you're in a tough fight, the last thing you think about is that style of mitt work. In fact, as a young boxer, I never hit the mitts. You know, I had my first fights in 1959, and I boxed all the way up to 1970, and I never hit the mitts, not once. Not once. It was, I mean, it became popular in the 70s.
Yeah.
The pad work. But I don't think that is a big significance in boxing. I think that it plays a role, maybe a fifth, but I don't think that it plays a significant role in the art of boxing.
Loyalty in boxing. Vlad, got to talk about loyalty in boxing. You see a lot of fighters, they'll be with one trainer and then they get to where they need to get to and then they change the trainer because they've made it, they've become world champion. You've got other guys that train with one trainer, then they're going to another trainer, then they're going to another trainer. Who is Vlad Sirenko? What is your thoughts on loyalty in boxing, loyalty to trainers, loyalty to somebody who's brought you there? What are your thoughts on these things?
You know, I'm going in the ring, and I must feel good about my team, about my coach, about everybody
Yes.
who's helping me. And when I'm feeling good about that, I'm good. You know, I'm ready to go in the ring and fight anybody. But if something wrong, you know, some fights with coach or misunderstanding or something,
Yes.
it's a different story. You know, like for me, it's very important to make my training camp completely good, you know. Everything must be done very well.
Yes.
And if it's happened, I'm ready to go and fight. It's giving me mentally strong and
Okay. I get that. Now, that's fine for now because of the opposition you're fighting, without no disrespect to you. But obviously, if you get into tougher fights and guys, you know, fighting top 15, top 10, top 5, their guys are going to be throwing punches back at you with venom, looking to knock you out, a bit more ambition. If you're having a difficult fight, does that go back and blame on the trainer? Does that come back with you? Or does that just mean that's levels and you're moving into better fighters?
in everybody's life can be bad or good days, you know. You must be smart, you must think what you did wrong, what you did not wrong. Of course, sometimes it can be trainer mistakes, sometimes it can be your mistake. But you must sit, you must think about what you did wrong or who did wrong and try to sort it out. I think if coach was really bad in that fight, you must talk to him and you must sort it out, you know.
Uncle Bashir, what are your thoughts about loyalty in boxing? Just somebody said to me, if you want loyalty in boxing, get a dog.
I think it's people in general. You know, the world that we live in is diverse. Some people are raised and cherish different things they were taught as a youngster, as a youth, growing up, and other people discard it when they get older. You know, me, I'm a loyal guy. I'm loyal to what I'm loyal to. You know, if I go out with a boxer, if I start this man out when nobody would take him. You know, nobody, not even in Ukraine, nobody would take him. And his father came to me and says, "Look, can you work with my son?" I said, "Yeah, I think I could work with him. We have a good relationship, and so we're here. Here we are now, 10 fights, undefeated, 9 knockouts, and this started 2.5 years ago. So I'm loyal to what I'm loyal to. My thinking is, in the end, that God knows best. You
Okay.
know, that's how I live.
Opposition.
Yeah.
For you, what is it about now? Just learning, for every guy you fight now, even if the opposition isn't that good, you're knocking them over. What do you learn from this, Vlad? If you tell me you knock a guy over, what do you learn? If you go out there and hit him with a left hook and he falls over, what do you learn from that?
You know, your experience is not just fight. It's your camp, it's your preparation. This is how you walking in the ring, you know, you feeling some stress and all this stuff. It's some kind of experience. Of course,
Right.
I did it before in amateur, but professional is a little bit different. You know, it's like big show, you going in the ring, people screaming, music playing and all of the stuff, you know, it's like show, TV cameras, and sometimes it's putting too much pressure on some fight. And you must walk through, you know, you must adapt to all of this stuff.
Right.
And when you go in the ring, of course, everything will happen in time. One day your position will grow up, but if you will jump from beginning in a tough fight and you before fights you like burn out, you go in the ring and what we can see, you will be like done, you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Uncle?
We've been here. We're here in Germany. Tomorrow it could be Britain. The next day it could be Australia. You know, just the life of a professional boxer and a professional trainer. So we try to prepare for the unforeseen. That's the thing to prepare for. So I try to create a circumstance inside the ring when I'm illustrating different things to Vlad. I try to create a scenario that has not been presented to him yet in the ring. So that when it does come, he'll recognize, like, aha, this is what we did back when in the ring. We know what we're looking at. You know, we got to be prepared for all things.
Final question. You gave us a great assessment of Alexander Usyk. You told us what Usyk would do as a cruiserweight. You told us what he's doing as a heavyweight. Now talk about this man here, Vlad Sirenko. What can he do in the heavyweight division?
Vlad Sirenko has a good outlook on boxing. He's a very respectful guy. He's very respectful to me. He's very respectful to what I'm teaching him. And I really hope that the powers that be doesn't come between us. You know, influences happen. When you find success, you climb the ladder, you got money, you got fame, you got fortune. It's a lot of things that come out of a young fighter. He's a young guy, so there's a lot of things that could come out of him, and I just say to him that I hope that it never influences him to cause disruption between us. Because our unity that we have together, working as a team, is what the best thing going for us. You know, it is the very best thing going for us. Like I said, we came from nothing until 10-0, you know? And people say, 10-0, but he fought this guy, he fought that guy, he didn't know he was fighting those guys. All he knew that he was getting in the ring. So he had to deal with the mental, the social, spiritual ramifications of preparing for a fight. He didn't know the guy wasn't going to be on his level. He didn't know he was going to knock the guy out. So he had to deal with all the emotions, all the preparations. He just was going into a fight to fight. It's not his fault, you know? And here we are, we're in Germany, and we're getting ready for the next guy. We don't know what this guy's going to bring. We know that he's an Argentinian, and from my experience over the last 50 years, the Argentine fighter comes to fight. We got to be prepared for it.
Vlad, final word with you.
Yeah.
Preparation for the fight. Going to the ring. Do you punch holes in walls before fights? Do you kick things before fights? Do you get angry? Do you have to hate your opponent? What does Vlad Sirenko have to do to prepare for a fight as you're walking out to the ring?
You know, I have some stuff to do in the gym, and I want to do it 100%. I know this morning I must run 5 kilometers, I must do backs 10 rounds, and when I did everything completely, you know, I'm feeling happy, okay, I did it good, and I'm getting ready. And when my training camp is done, I'm looking back and I'm like, yes, everything was good. I'm extremely ready for my fight and I can go. You know, if something going wrong, you know, I have some pain, I will never feel that strong. You know? This is what it's in my mind, you know, make me stronger.
My goal right now, my goal right now is to see this young man become the heavyweight champion of the world. He has the right size, he has the right attitude, he has the right investment in the sport. He has all the right things to make it to the top. I know it's going to be some nights where he's down, some nights where he may be even cut. But I still think that we can get through the fall to get to the World Championship. I think that when I say to him that this is for the World Heavyweight Championship, I think that Vlad Sirenko is going to fight. I think he's going to give it everything that he got.
You say he's the right size, 6 foot?
Yes.
6'4" you say you are?
6'4".
6'4".
Yeah,
Is that big enough? The bigger guys, the
right
Joshuas,
size,
the
it's
Furies,
You know, yesteryear it was a 6'3" guy. Now it's a 6'4" guy because as you see, all the guys in the heavyweight division now are huge guys. But he has the right dimensions to be a heavyweight champion. He has the right weight, 235 to 240, 6'4". That's my ideal heavyweight, you know. It doesn't have to be 290, 280, you know what I'm saying? That's only significant if you stand around wait for those ships to come in. But if you're moving, if you're boxing, if you're doing what you do in the gym, it's the right size. He has the right size to make it.
Vlad, you know Bashir, you know who Bashir's trained, you know where he's been, you know who he's produced. What does that mean to you when he says all these things about you, Vlad?
It's given me some motivation to work, you know. Worst is worst, but I must approve everything, you know. It's sometimes, yeah, like what I can say, it's motivation for me. Sometimes very big, you know. And I'm very respecting him working together, and I'm happy about it.
He doesn't know. He's the guy that's going to put me across the top. He's the guy that's going to put me across the top. You know, out of all other guys that I work with, he is the guy that's going to make me shine the most.
You hear that?
You know?
So that's above Usyk. You hear that? Above Usyk.
He's going to make me shine the most.
Dang.
We will work out for this so hard.
There you go. Guys, thank you so much for letting us into camp. We appreciate it. Uncle Bashir and Vlad Sirenko. Thank you.